All right, hello, CWI 101 students. I just wanted to take a quick moment to just welcome you to your week 15 learning module and just provide a few quick reminders as we move into this almost final week of the semester. So your week 15 learning module is open. This is your final week worth of content. So you'll finish reading the book, and then you will have a few supplemental items associated with that. And then you'll start working on your recipe cards. So within that, you'll want to take a quick peek at your checklist that walks you through some of the necessary components. Make sure that you do pay attention to point number 8, which largely centers around your end of course evaluations. So over here on the left-hand navigation toolbar, you'll see that there is a spot that's active now that you can click on to go in and submit your end of course evaluations. And I just reiterate in here that this is a great opportunity for you to provide feedback as it relates to this specific course, the information that you learned, really the concept of taking a first semester experience course, navigating resources, those sorts of things. So take some time to complete that. The deadline for that is a little bit different than some of our other deadlines within this course, so pay attention to that as well. I would definitely make sure that you prioritize that. Within your discussion board, I want to just highlight this question number 5 and make sure that you understand really what I'm looking for here. So we talk about at the end of every unit, we do this culmination experience where you eat kind of in the spirit of what we learned about within that unit. So this go around, you'll be eating through the lens or in the spirit of hunting and gathering, right? So that could be in theory, if I was going to go out and forage a meal, what would that look like? But it could also be something like I did put together a meal that was completely sourced by, let's say, the steer that I raised and butchered. So maybe my meal is a roast, right? So a grass finished steer that I raised, some carrots that I harvested from the garden, some sliced tomatoes that I harvested from the garden, and some potatoes that I harvested from the garden, right? Like that could be something that I put together that I've hunted or gathered and sourced completely from my backyard, right? So I want you to think through that. But then this last question is really encompassing the entire semester. So just some final thoughts. I don't want you to think too hard about this, but really like a culmination of when we think about what is it that we're eating. If I was going to answer that question, I would say we're eating the Western diet. Highly processed, high fructose corn syrup, lots of fats, lots of convenient, fast type foods, right? Where is it coming from, right? Like it's coming from these monocrop systems that are intensely farmed, that are heavily subsidized by the government. How does it find its way to our table? It travels 1,500 miles to reach my plate. And then I think this last question is really like a reflection of that. So what is the real cost to this sort of food system? Not just the dollars, but like think about what I'm asking here in terms of animal life, resources, the environment. I would also argue our health and our healthcare system. Like, what is the actual cost associated with that? So provide just some high-level statements about that. You're also going to research a farm-to-plate restaurant and then contribute to a wiki this week. So I ask you to go out and find a restaurant that has this like farm-to-plate philosophy and then share that with your peers. So I've given you an example here. If you've not eaten at the Tower Grill in Nampa, you should go check it out. Nate is actually one of the chefs that helps us with our Farm to Fork dinner in the fall. And so it's fun to highlight his restaurant. My kids love it. It's at the Nampa airport, so they get to sit on the patio and watch the airplanes take off and land, while I can sit there and drink a mimosa and have some delicious cinnamon rolls or chicken fried steak or whatever it is. So, but there's lots. So go out, do a quick search. You're going to find that there's a lot of restaurants within this area that have started sourcing a lot of their food from local farmers and producers. Your outcome for this week is centered around academic discourse and this ability to communicate. They call it like speaking persuasively. And then also different writing resources. So I've provided just some high level questions here that you need to answer, but then I've also provided some supplemental information. The thing that you also really want to pay attention to is as we move into this final week, you are going to be putting together those final 3 recipe cards. And so make sure that you understand the basis of this assignment. I've given you some like tips here. I would encourage you to do this through PowerPoint and just right out of the gate open up a PowerPoint, the PowerPoint program, and create 3 blank slides. And then from there you can start designing your specific recipe cards. Your recipe cards need to make sure that they have the title of your recipe, obviously the ingredients that are necessary for that specific food that you're sharing, and then the instructions on how to prepare it. And then the most important component is really connecting this all with your food culture. So making that final statement of why does this recipe represent your food culture and what is it about this? And then finally a photo. If you have an opportunity to prepare the recipe, I would love for you to do that. I think that's a great way to end the semester, is to eat in the spirit of your food culture, really thinking through all of the things that we've learned this semester, the pleasures of the table, so enjoying that meal with your family, friends, those sorts of things. But I also recognize that preparing those meals in a short window of time and the cost of food right now, those sorts of things could make that a little challenging for you. So if you need to go pull a photo that's somewhat similar to your recipe, you can certainly do that from a website. Just make sure that you do cite that. So don't steal somebody's photo. Just provide a quick little citation underneath it if you are going to pull it from the internet. And you will do 3 of these. So make sure that you have 3 recipe cards. Each recipe card is worth 50 points, and that is worth a total of 150 points for your final signature assignment for this semester. Like I mentioned, your end of course evaluations are also open, so make sure advantage of that before shut down during that final week of the semester. So with that, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please reach out. Otherwise, happy final new information, wrapping up all of the things that we've learned about for this semester, and then moving into that final push, which is that week 16 stuff. Reach out if you have any questions, comments, or concerns.